Good morning and welcome to your Sunday service. This week we'll be going and taking a look at what Scientology is and what are its beliefs and practices. And also having a very interesting and deep look into personal integrity and how you use that on a daily basis. And then we're going to be taking a look at what the secret of greatness is. How would one go through life if they were attempting to be great? Now, with that being said, we're going to see a video on the creed of the Church of Scientology.
We of the Church believe
that all men of whatever race, color, or creed
were created with equal rights.
That all men have inalienable rights
to their own religious practices and their performance.
That all men have inalienable rights
to their own lives. That all men have inalienable rights
to their sanity.
That all men have inalienable rights
to their own defense.
That all men have inalienable rights
to conceive, choose, assist, or support their own organizations, churches, and governments.
That all men have inalienable rights
to think freely, to talk freely,
to write freely their own opinions,
and to counter or utter
or write upon the opinions of others.
That all men have inalienable rights to the creation of their own kind.
That the souls of men have the rights of men.
That the study of the mind
and the healing of mentally caused ills
should not be alienated from religion
or condoned in non-religious fields.
And that no agency less than God
has the power to suspend or set aside these rights, overtly or covertly.
And we of the Church believe
that man is basically good,
that he is seeking to survive,
that his survival depends upon himself and upon his fellows,
and his attainment of brotherhood with the universe. And we of the Church believe
that the laws of God forbid man
to destroy his own kind,
to destroy the sanity of another,
to destroy or enslave another's soul,
to destroy or reduce the survival of one's companions or one's group.
And we of the Church believe
that the spirit can be saved, and that the spirit alone may save or heal the body.
All right. Now that you have seen the creed of the Church of Scientology, let's see how that fits with what we're about to go into next. Now, what is personal integrity? Well, that would be something that you know. So, what is it that you know? You've gone throughout life, you've collected a lot of things and a lot of data. But what are the things that you are very certain of? What are the things that you know that you know? Well, those are the things in which you have observed. So, as we look at personal integrity, I would like for you to think of things that you have observed and that you know are true. And think of ways in which you could say what you have observed. So let's look at Personal Integrity by L. Ron Hubbard. What is true for you is what you have observed yourself. And when you lose that, you have lost everything. What is personal integrity? Personal integrity is knowing what you know. What you know is what you know. And to have the courage to know and say what you have observed. And that is integrity. And there is no other integrity. Of course, we can talk about honor, truth, all these things, these esoteric terms. But I think they'd all be covered very well if what we really observed was what we observed. That we took care to observe what we were observing, and that we always observed to observe. And not necessarily maintaining a skeptical attitude or a critical attitude or an open mind, but certainly maintaining sufficient personal integrity and sufficient personal belief and confidence in self and courage that we can observe what we observe and say what we have observed. Nothing in Dianetics and Scientology is true for you unless you have observed it, and it is true according to your observation. That is all. So, how can we take personal integrity and wrap that in to what the secret of greatness is? So how would you know if you have achieved that point where you could say, I'm truly a great person, or this person is truly a great person? What are some qualities in which you should be able to look at to say or to adjudicate that factor? Let's have a look at what is greatness. The hardest task one can have is to continue to love his fellows despite all reasons he should not. And the true sign of sanity and greatness is to so continue. For the one who can achieve this, there is abundant hope. For those who cannot, there is only sorrow, hatred, and despair. And these are not the things of which greatness or sanity or happiness are made. A primary trap is to succumb to invitations to hate. There are those who appoint one their executioners. Sometimes for the sake of safety of others, it is necessary to act, but it is not necessarily necessary also to hate them. To do one's task without becoming furious at others who seek to prevent one is a mark of greatness and sanity, and only then can one be happy. Seeking to achieve any single desirable quality in life is a noble thing, and one most difficult and most necessary to achieve is to love one's fellows despite all invitations to do otherwise. If there is any saintly quality, it is not to forgive. Forgiveness accepts the badness of the act. There is no reason to accept it. Further, one has to label the act as bad in order to forgive it. Forgiveness is a much lower level action and is rather censorious or severely critical. True greatness merely refuses to change in the face of bad actions against one. And a truly great person loves his fellows because he understands them. After all, they are all in the same trap. Some are oblivious to it. Some have gone mad because of it. Some act like those who betrayed them. But all are in the same trap. The generals, the street sweepers, the presidents, the insane. They act the way they do because they are all subject to the same cruel pressures of this universe. Some of us are subject to those pressures and still go on about our jobs. Others have long since succumbed and rave and torture and strut like the demented souls they are. To resave some of them is a dangerous undertaking. Were you to approach many ruling heads in the world and offer to set them free, as only a Scientologist can, they would go berserk, cry up their private police, and generally cause unpleasantness. Indeed, one did. He was later assassinated by no desire of ours, but because of the incompetence of his fellows about him. He could have used Scientology. Instead, he promptly tried to shoot it down by ordering raids and various berserk actions in Scientology organizations. That he had been shot had nothing to do with us, but only demonstrated how incompetent and how mortal he really was. As we become stronger, we can be completely open-handed with our help. Until we do, we can at least understand the one fact that greatness does not stem from savage wars or being known. It stems from being true to one's own decency, from going on helping others whatever they do or think or say, and despite all savage acts against one, to persevere without changing one's basic attitude toward man. A fully trained Scientologist is in a far better position to understand than a partly trained one. For the Scientologist, who really knows, is able not only to retain confidence in himself and what he can do, but also can understand why others do what they do. And so knowing does not become baffled or dismayed by small defeats. To that degree, true greatness depends on total wisdom. They act as they do because they are what they are, trapped beings, crushed beneath an intolerable burden. And if they have gone mad for it and command the devastation of whole nations in errors of explanation, still one can understand why and can understand as well the extent of their madness. Why should one change and begin to hate just because others have lost themselves and their own destinies are too cruel for them to face? Justice, mercy, forgiveness. All these are unimportant beside the ability not to change because of provocation or demands to do so. One must act. One must preserve order and decency. But one need not hate or seek vengeance. It is true that beings are frail and commit wrongs. Man is basically good, but can act badly. He only acts badly when his acts are done for order and the safety of others are done with hatred, or when his disciplines are founded only upon safety for himself regardless of all others, or worse, when he acts out of a taste for cruelty. To preserve no order at all is an insane act. One need only look at the possessions and environment of the insane to realize this. The able keep good order. When cruelty in the name of discipline dominates a race, that race has been taught to hate, and that race is doomed. The real lesson is to learn to love. He who would walk scatheless through his days must learn this. Never use what was done to one as a basis for hatred. Never desire revenge. It requires real strength to love man, and to love him despite all invitations to do otherwise, all provocations and all reasons why one should not. Happiness and strength endure only in the absence of hate. To hate alone is the road to disaster. To love is the road to strength. To love in spite of all is the great secret of greatness, and may very well be the greatest secret in this universe. Scientology is the path to wisdom and greatness. Wherever you are on that path, you should read What is Scientology? It will help you discover what your next step is and answer any questions you may have. Now, how can you apply what is greatness to your life? What are the things in which you can do in order to show that you're taking strides to being great? I hope that you'll look at things throughout your week as you can apply what is greatness. Extend out the helping hand or decide to speak with someone in whom you have grievance with. Now, we're going to be ending Sunday service with the reading of the Scientology prayer for total freedom. May the author of the universe enable all men to reach an understanding of their spiritual nature. May awareness and understanding of life expand so that all may come to know the author of the universe. And may others also reach this understanding, which brings total freedom. At this time, we think of those whose liberty is threatened, of those who have suffered imprisonment for their beliefs, of those who are enslaved or martyred, and for all those who are brutalized, trapped, or attacked. We pray that human rights will be preserved so that all people may believe and worship freely, so that freedom will once again be seen in our land. Freedom from war and poverty and want. Freedom to be, freedom to do, and freedom to have. Freedom to use and understand man's potential, a potential that is God-given and God-like. And freedom to achieve that understanding and awareness that is total freedom. May God let it be so. Thank you for coming to Sunday service, and I look forward to seeing you next week.